Okay, so I'm Fran and this is Pam, and together we're either Framela or, as somebody said, Frangie Pammy. That's what we're called now. Everybody's voice is equal in this room today. It's a hospitable space.
Today is about working together. And I'm just going to leave you with one quote, and it's by Margaret Wheatley, someone who's greatly inspired me over the last 10, 15 years. Human conversation is the most ancient and easiest way to cultivate the conditions for change. Personal change, community change, organisational change, and planetary change. If we can sit together and talk about what's important to us, we begin to come alive.
Everyone's heard the word dementia, but not a lot of people actually understand it. When you're living with dementia, everyone lives with dementia around you. And I put my diagnosis on Facebook. I love social media. And that way it told everyone in an instant that people under 65 can get dementia. And we realised that my illness did not have to define me or rule me. I decided to do what I could do and not worry about what I can't. I look forward and not backwards. Tomorrow is always a new day. That leads nicely to my favourite phrase at the moment. And I hear a lot of people with dementia shouting about nothing about us without us. Well, that's great. And that came from the disability movement years ago. And it did have its place. But the very nature of the illness with dementia, as I said, we need support and we need help. So it should be nothing about us without all of us. We're all in this together. We're all living with dementia. I may have dementia, but it doesn't have me yet.
Amazing speakers that we've had up already today. And you can live well and for a lot longer with dementia.
Having dementia is not now as bad as it was when I was first diagnosed 5 years ago, because people are starting to listen to people with dementia. We don't forget everything, if we forgot everything, we'd just be zombies. If you have empathy with us, it means you have to act. Sympathy for people means, if you have empathy with me, you will act with me. I don't suffer with dementia. There's no physical pain with it. There's absolutely no physical pain with my dementia. And people always say, you're suffering with dementia. I say, I'm not suffering with dementia, I'm living with dementia. The person that suffers with it is your family carer.
There's a passion, there's excitement within the room, and I feel that there's a real faith that change can happen and it will happen, and there's an excitement to feel that we're at the forefront of a movement which is really achieving some amazing things throughout communities.
It's hard enough dealing with dementia, and then all of a sudden you've got no work. As soon as your loved one has been diagnosed with dementia, we should get assessed right away, and we should get told what to expect. Because, as Chris said, everyone is different with dementia. But the Tommy that is at home is not the Tommy that's sitting here now. I went to bed as a wife, and I woke up as a carer. I could actually live with the thought of just memory loss. I really could. But it's the other things that people don't realise. The agitation, forgetting things, holes in the floor.
What stands out for me is the urgent message that people who've been living with dementia for quite a long time are now giving us, and that's to say we don't want sympathy, we don't even really want empathy. What we want is action, and we want recognition of our needs. So we do need support, but we need the kind of support that fits in with ourselves, our personalities and our lifestyles.
I now realise from Tommy that is empathy, and that's not what we need. We need more action. And yet I wondered why every time I went to see my dementia consultant or my nurse came to see me, they never asked about my dairy, scaly, sensory challenges.
And the memories, I'm going to say the memory's fine. I think I'm that used to it now, it just washes right over me, to be honest. So it was the least of my problems, and actually it still is. 10 years later with my mum and 8 years later with my dad, we've got systems in place. I phoned him this morning, but there was nowhere in nothing about sensory challenges, about falls. And all they said, oh, that's the dementia, that's spatial awareness. Yeah, what do we do about it? Where do we go? Nowhere. We found the low vision officer, who is about 5 minutes away from our house, but we had to go to London to find out they actually existed, to then go back up and say, do we have a low vision officer? We then get referred to the consultant, and he said, hyperacusis in this case is caused by dementia, and this is a well-known fact. I went, well, there's only 3 of us in the room, and we're only 3 people that know it's a well-known fact. You're keeping it quite a bit of a secret.
I can get by, but I'm looking and seeing, and I've seen it in carers' faces. It is stressful. Together we can make a difference, not just locally, but globally. Because if your intentions are pure, people will pick it up.
We mustn't disable people out of love and kindness. We have to be hands-off with this condition and see how we can support the person to do that task or that activity, whatever it is, in a way that is suitable for them. It is now a statutory duty on your local authority to recognise you as a carer, to identify you and to give you a carer's assessment.
Years now, I have to say it's incredibly inspiring hearing the different stories of people's experience, what works for them, what they've found helpful, how they've overcome challenges is just really inspiring, and that's why I wanted to be here today. I've just met so many wonderful people.
And who's the only person in this room with bare legs and summer sandals? It's me, because A, I packed for myself and I didn't bring anything warm, and B, this morning, I didn't know how to put my tights on. In my family, we don't say dementia or Alzheimer's. We say fizzy-hammers. Because when Daisy was told that Nanny was poorly and she forgot things because she had a disease in her head, she went to school and said, my Nanny tells the best stories in the world because they come out of her head rather than in the book. And she has this awful disease called fizzy-hammers, so we can't wake her up early in the morning. Perhaps the proudest moment of my life was going out to a family party. We were all getting ready to go out, and my 15-year-old grandson said to me very quietly, Nanny, have you got your nappy bag?
What's really inspiring and exciting about this event is to hear such a great diversity of voices, a great deal of honesty, and also I think it's a real game changer in terms of the level of engagement which we've got here with people who are living with dementia and their carers has pretty much set the standard, which for anyone who says that it's too difficult or it's too cumbersome to be able to get people with dementia involved in activities, I think we can just point to this and go, well, it's not, because we can. And
the biggest sea change in our health board at a very senior level was Chris's Panorama programme. And the power behind that programme really hit home with people. And quite rightly, there was a huge emotional content to that programme. And I think that started to change how people chose to think about those who are living with dementia and those who are affected by dementia.
Hi, my name's Teresa Davies, or I seem to have adopted the name Dory lately from my granddaughter. I'd never got up and spoke to a room full of people before. But Deep has given me a voice and I feel valued, and it has given me purpose to my life. Yesterday, dementia whispered in my ear, "You are not strong enough to weather the storm." Today, I whispered in dementia's ear, "I am the storm."
Every decision that is made by any professional, actually, please don't do it without consulting with somebody living with dementia.
I think it's very important that people with dementia engage in this, because only we know what it's like.
So our 3 action points are you listening? Yes. Do it. Do it now. Just start. Do it.
We just need to keep having these conversations, keep badgering away in our own little areas or whatever it is that we do, because every single one of us that's doing something, either with a tweet on social media or something on Facebook or something at government level like Hayley's taking tomorrow, each one of these things does have an effect and it does make a change.
That's what's missing, I think. People sharing the knowledge, sharing the good practice and sharing the bad practice. And that's what's needed, I think. We all need to start sharing and not being precious. And that way, we won't be duplicating things, we won't be reinventing the wheel, and we can move forward. And this is the face of dementia. Just look around you.
Hearing the voice of people who are living with dementia is so powerful.
For those who were here yesterday, you'll be pleased to know that I managed to get my tights on by myself.
And I lived for 2 years with a knot in my stomach. I was watching Chris all the time. I was watching him, I was looking for the late stages, I was waiting for it all to progress. And we can't live in that state of dread. But what we've done is we've changed our mind to the condition. As Chris said in the Panorama programme, we've grabbed it by the danglies and we're running with it because there's nothing else we can do. We can sit at home and wait for the inevitable, but what life is that? We're under no illusion as to the difficulties of the disease, as to what potentially can come. But before we get there, we have a life to live.
Do you care? Do you care? Yes. Okay. When people care, things happen. We are disruptive. We have to be disruptive because we don't like the status quo. Is dementia a mental illness? No. Is it caused by organic disease? Yes. Therefore, is it not physical disease? Is it caused by physical changes in the brain? Yes. Therefore, is it not physical disease? Who operates memory services? Mental health trusts. Who provides the crisis care for people living with dementia? Mental health trusts. Who doesn't get parity of funding? Mental health trusts. Our social movement is irresistible. And together, and with our passion, we will succeed.
Training. It's a fantastic event, purely because it's got so many people with dementia here, so many carers, you know, so many people that are directly affected by dementia. There's so much humour that has, you know, we've just been laughing throughout the event, which is fantastic, you know, to have that, and it really brings people together.
Thank you for giving us your thoughts, letting us into your lives, sharing everything that you shared with us. Thank you to the researchers for doing the research, the PhD students for being all the support here, and particularly thank you to Fran and Pam, who, without their this dynamic duo, none of this would be here. We went for coffee with Pam, and here we are 2 years later on the second one. They are such a fantastic team. I really think the last word, the last round of applause, the last thanks should go to Pam and Fran. And thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts and the team.